Welcome to our tutorial about the SQL update statement. Let's right-click and select a new query. Let's work with the Users table, Add, and Close. The SQL update statement has the following format: Update, Users, Set first name, equals Bob. Where, space, user ID equals 1. This statement will modify a single record. It uses the user ID to find the correct row. Let's go to the Query Designer, execute SQL. After a few seconds, Visual Studio gives us a message, one row affected by the last query. However, it's not going to display the changes. To view the changes, you need to request the row by performing another select statement. Or I can simply right-click, Show Table Data, and we see the first name. As you see here, the first name in the first row has been changed to Bob. Now let's change Bob's last name too. Enter a comma, type last name. Equals, let's change it to Lee. And let's also change Bob to Tom. As you can see, I'm not using the correct casing for names. For example, I've typed a lowercase n here, but my column name uses an uppercase N. Let's run the query. And Visual Studio lets me know that one row was affected by the last query. Let's right-click, select, run the Query Builder to see our changes. And we have Tom Lee here. Now, let's run a different query. Update users, set age equals age plus 100. Where user ID is greater than or equal to 5 and the user ID is less than 10. What will happen here? User IDs between the numbers of 5 and 10, including 5, everybody in this range will become 100 years older. Query Designer, execute SQL. After a few moments, we get a message that 5 records were affected. Now to check our results, let's right-click, select, and execute the query again. Okay, here we've got our results. Everyone's above 100 years old. One other thing I want to teach you in this tutorial. If you type update, set first name equals Tom, you can see I didn't implement any filters, but let's execute the SQL anyway. In a few seconds, we get a message. We've got a problem. 13 rows were affected by my last query. Let's click OK. Those are all of the rows in my database. If I change type, select, and again execute, we now confirm that all our user first names were changed to Tom. Accidents like this can actually happen pretty easily. You need to be really careful, especially when you're working with live databases. This concludes our tutorial about the SQL update statement.